posts really need to be 10 feet because all our modern systems, we want to be at least 10 feet high. 12 feet high would be better. If you're using a stake and you can support it up above the wire, that tends to be about 6 or 7 feet high. After you get a you got a 10-footer, you pound it in the ground 3 feet, your wire is going to be at 7. You want to get the tree to 10, you have to put a stake up above that. So a conduit or a bamboo above that, you can use that 10-foot post. Today, most of our growers, though, with the tall spindle system, because they don't want to invest in individual stakes, are using 12-foot posts, pounding them in the ground 3 feet if they can, and then using the 5 wires to complete that. And the 5 wires work very well. We want to use, on our end posts and our anchors, we want to use at least 4 to 5 inch diameter ones. And we always pound those with the narrow end down, having the fat end out of the ground. And the inlines, you can use a smaller post, 3 to 4 inch diameters. We have used both round and square. The problem with squares are that they tend to warp, and there's always a knot on the corner, and they are really dangerous to pound. I've seen one of those split right off, a square one split right off, and it was like a spear coming down. Okay, so there's our round and square posts. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the installation process. I mentioned that augers are not a good thing. In some situations you have to do that, and that is in situations where you have put your orchard in and you haven't gotten to your trellising until 2 or 3 years later. It's almost impossible to maneuver a pounder into an orchard that's established without damaging a lot of trees. So again, you want to put your trellises up as early as you possibly can and avoid using augers. There's a number of different pounders available. We have custom pounders that'll come in. This is, I think it's the Kiwi that I really, really like because you can angle it 3 different ways, and it also has that pilot hole driller. And when you have a situation where you have a lot of rock in the ground, sometimes you have to use that little auger to drill the pilot hole before you pound them into the ground. We like 10-foot posts. They're fairly inexpensive. The bamboo is inexpensive. We like to have 1-inch stakes, and again, we always put the fat end at the top because we want to make sure and have most of the strength at the top. We have used lighter stakes than that for training purposes. Some of our growers now are taking a 3-wire trellis that's 10 foot high, and then using a 5/8 inch of bamboo, using trellis clips to attach that to the 2nd wire and the 3rd wire up above. And then you get a little bit of extra height. It works really well as a training stake. It doesn't work very well as a support when the apples mature. Conduit is the Cadillac system. You can still buy 10-foot conduit. There's a lot of different conduits that are made. You can get the heavy 1/2 inch, you can get the light one, you get the 3/4 inch, and you can get the 2-inch. The way we've been using them, really the light 1/2 is all you need, because any part of that tree below that wire is going to be supported by that stake, and you only have a couple of feet up above. We have used the 2-inch ones as end posts, and they really don't work that well. Height is important. I just want to emphasize that our trees, our systems are designed for 10 foot high. So we need to support that tree to 10 feet. If we support it to 6 feet, that tree is going to be 6 or 7 feet high. If we support it to 8, it's going to be 8 or 9 feet high. We need to support it to the full 10 feet in order to capture that light that I just talked about. The height of the trellis or the stake, it should be 10 foot for the vertical axe, 9 to 10 foot for the tall spindle. So if the trellis is too short, if you're not supporting it up, the wire that high, then a lot of times you'll have too much torque and they fail. You want to use 1 3/4 inch staples and double them like I showed you where the stresses occur. You want to make sure and use large enough posts. One of our problems has been using 2-inch peeler cores in some cases. Those 2-inch peeler cores weren't strong enough to hold up the trellises. I like to say plant a sacrificial tree, and that means that I'm going to put a tree outside my anchor if I can, or leave a large anchor. That way if they run over the tree, they're not going to ruin the trellis system. And I want to perform regular maintenance and repair problems as soon as you possibly see them. How many times have you driven down a road, you've seen a problem, and then you forgot where it was, or you didn't go back, and that problem became more serious? Okay, you want to drive the anchors. I would recommend that you drill the top wire on every post and thread those through the posts now. And then every year, that annual support system maintenance will be including repounding pulled anchors. As soon as you see an anchor that's pulled, you want to go back in the fall after the crop load's off and repound it. You're going to replace any broken or weakened support posts and stakes. You want to check for any staples that are pulled. Often you'll see staples pulled. You want to go back in, and I would reposition those staples. Once they start to pull, that means you probably put them in the wrong place. So if you can, you pull that out, you reposition in another part of the stake, and put it in. Any of the tree stakes that are leaning, you want to straighten them out using another potato bag tie or clip like I showed you. After harvest, you can readjust your tension. A lot of times when you see those leaning things, you can adjust your tension on each individual wire and straighten those back up again.